Most people think their overthinking is about indecision or lack of motivation. But overthinking isn't a flaw, it's a pattern. And most of us get caught at the exact same point. In this video, I'm breaking down the 7-step loop that leads to overthinking, because once you understand the pattern, you can find a way out. Overthinking is usually triggered by some kind of a perceived threat. Maybe it's uncertainty or not being sure how to do something, but straight away we try and go in and solve the problem. Our instinct is to just try and think through it so that we'll feel better. But sometimes not all problems are logical, and thinking harder isn't actually going to give us any kind of a resolution. The second part of the loop is actually the illusion of control that comes with all this thinking. Because we feel like we're being productive, because we're spending time trying to solve this problem, we feel like we're in control. But the only problem is, this starts to snowball. We think of one problem only to think of another one, to think of another one, and we're trying and hoping that by thinking through the problem, eventually we'll end up finding one solution that solves everything. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is find the one thing that will fix it. But here's the thing. Most overthinking isn't about finding answers. It's about avoiding feelings. It's fear of regret, shame for not being prepared enough, disappointment or upset. So instead of digging into what we're feeling, we just try and think of our way through. And all we're doing is putting up a wall and building a maze between us and what the actual solution is. And that leads us into step 4 of the loop, which is where most of us get caught, and that is cultural conditioning. In school, we were always rewarded for finding the right answers and not sitting with uncertainty. And now in the real world, everybody focuses on the grind. It's the prioritization, the optimization, and the planning. But no one ever taught us how to listen inwardly, or even just pause without that feeling of panic. And ultimately what happens is step 5 of the loop. It's exhaustion and disconnection. Over time, all this thinking just wears you down. And before you know it, you don't even trust your own instincts anymore. Life starts to feel like this puzzle you can't solve. And so we just shut down. We get caught in this overthinking loop, and very, very rarely do we ever find a way out. Usually the problem just goes away by itself, but we've done nothing to solve it. But now that we know that the solution isn't just to think harder, what if we came at it from a different direction? What if we just took that time to stop and listen? Give yourself 15 minutes and go and find somewhere nice and quiet to sit, preferably outside in nature. Don't try to think through the problem, but just sit there and see what feelings come out when you start thinking about this thing that you're struggling with. It's a calm and honest approach, not to look for specific solutions, but more so to act as a guide so that your subconscious can come out and give you the answers that you're looking for. The last part of the process is to take this newfound clarity and do something about it. Overthinking usually won't go away unless that perceived threat that we had at step 1 goes away. But now that we have a little bit more clarity than we did before, not by just trying to force our way through thinking of the problem, hopefully we've got some new actions that will actually make this thing completely go away. If you're a chronic overthinker, of course that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that you've grown up in a society which only rewards thinking. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Pick one thing, something small, and go through this process. And I guarantee that you'll feel a little bit more comfortable and confident when you come out the far end. That's this week's video, folks. I hope you had a great week, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.